Welcome everybody to this special episode of What Have They Done to Our Sport? We have a very special guest. He's been in the business since 1987. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the wrestling business. The one and only Kenny, the Star Maker Bolin. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How you getting along on your end?
I'm doing just fine. You know, like I said, happy the week's over with. It's Friday, the weekend's coming. So all that's good. The weather here kind of sucks. It's hot as hell, so can't really do anything outside, which sucks.
About 99 outside. Well, I don't know, probably about 91 out here today.
Yep.
A little warm, Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, sir. And so you've lived in Louisville pretty much your whole life. It says you were born in Florida, but quickly moved there to Kentucky.
Well, that's what Wikipedia says. I was actually Wikipedia is actually wrong on me on that. I was actually born in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
And wasn't there but about 3 days. And as soon as we got out of the hospital, my mother boarded a Greyhound bus, and I was supposedly seen in the back of the bus flipping birds to Lexington as we left. And we came to LaGrange for a short period of time, and then we moved on to Florida. And but I lived in Florida so much, I think people thought I was born there. So that's what Wikipedia says.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's classless to make or adjust your own Wikipedia. That's just, you can't. I have no idea who made mine. I was shocked I even had one way back in the MySpace days. And someone has edited it recently because there's some additional information on there on me that if you, I'll give you an example. I don't know if you can hear my Alexa or not, but as a matter of fact, I can make it so you can. Well, nah, I'd have to plug some cables in. We'll just see if you can hear it. Computer, who is Kenny Bolin?
Kenny Bolin is a former professional wrestling manager and author, best known as the lead villainous manager in Ohio Valley Wrestling as the manager of Bolin Services. He also hosts a podcast radio show called The Bolin Alley. On the show, he is often critical of today's wrestling content and has feuded with other who slam into on-air talent, including Jim Cornette, Lanny Poffo, and Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Brady Hicks. Did that answer your question?
It certainly did.
That's awesome. That is sweet.
Yeah, so that's what Alexa tells you about. Well, I've got Alexa, and I've got Echo, and I've got Computer. They only have 3 different names you can give them.
Yep. That's awesome.
So they're in 3 different areas. Now this is always cute to do. Computer, who is Jimmy Cornette?
I don't know that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's awesome.
That's what I thought.
I hope. Well, I got some of my information off of Wikipedia, so I hope it's correct. If it's not, I apologize.
Most of it's accurate from what I understand. But where I was born, and I let the Florida thing slide for a long time because I think I told most people I was born in Florida because I was so ashamed of being born in the home of the Kentucky Wildcats. I'm a Louisville Cardinal guy.
I like Louisville, and I'm going to ask you.
Strange combination there. The Jets in Nebraska.
Yes, sir. And the reason I'm a Jets fan is because they drafted Scott Frost in the '97 draft, which, if you were college football back then, Scott Frost won us a national championship,
Yeah.
and now he's back coaching Nebraska. So I'm over, full circle. I'm happy about it. You know what I mean? Back to where he started. And
we got Nick Cronin down from Cincinnati, or Xavier, sorry.
Yeah.
From Cincinnati. The Xavier coach is taking over for Patino down here, and I'm anxious to see how that's going to pan out.
Yeah. What do you think about that Patino stuff?
Well, all I know is that hooker that wrote the book that got him in all the trouble got arrested a few days ago for passing blank bad checks at a pawn shop here in Louisville for over $3,000, which you don't have to be too damn smart to know that's a felony. And then she shows up to court wearing a Cardinals shirt and a big smile on her face like she'd been arrested for jaywalking.
Man, she's
for a felony she can't get out of. She stole some blank checks and was cashing them at pawn shops around Louisville. And I can't think of her name. I wouldn't give her credit for it if I did. But yeah, she's the one that wrote that book that brought the demise down on Louisville. And the way I see it, number one, the worst thing those kids did is they got laid. And the best thing they did is they got laid.
Exactly.
And, but here's the other thing. What college basketball player do you know that has to pay to get laid?
Exactly.
And I'm trying to clean this up as best I can for your show. But
anything goes, man. You can cuss, say whatever you want to say. It's
I figured it's about the same on mine. I'm just trying to keep. I was trying to shy away from calling it a piece of ass, but what do you do?
And you're a D1 athlete. You can pretty much walk down the street and point and choose. Of course. You know what I mean? Like that's the way it goes.
These are the Louisville Mighty Cardinals. I mean, national champions.
Yep.
3 times over. I mean, they want to get laid in Louisville. Trust me, they're not going to have to reach in their pockets and get any cash for it. There's plenty of it out there, but they're paying a heavy price for it now. So let's see where it all goes. They even stripped their national title over this nonsense.
And the thing about that drives me nuts is we all know they're still national champions. They won it that year. You know what I mean? So why take that away?
They didn't give it to anybody else when they stripped it from them. They didn't give it to Michigan.
Yep.
I mean, if you give it to Michigan, then there might be a legit case, but you're just going to give it to nobody?
Yep, exactly. They're the champions.
Louisville played a hell of a tournament that year. They really did.
Yes, they did, and they deserve that championship. Who cares if they're out getting laid, like you said, getting a piece of ass on the side, or whoever's getting it for them?
You got laid, your coach paid money for it, that's it. You're all out of here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Take their damn title and take their banner, too.
The NCAA is one of the most corrupt organizations there is, in my opinion. They're out here making all this money off these kids, and they don't give them shit. You know what I mean?
In my opinion, the top 50 clubs in the NCAA, maybe even do the top 100. There's like 300 NCAA schools in basketball, or 392 or some ridiculous number. Why don't we take the top 100 schools and maybe 2 of the top teams from each state, 2 top teams from the 50 states, and if you finish third, well, shit on you, and form your own damn league.
Yep.
100 teams, and at the end of the year, have a 32-team tournament.
Yes, sir.
68 teams don't get in, 32 teams do. And call it whatever the hell you want to call it, run it the way you want to run it, and let the top 100 big boys run their own damn league. Be it the Miami Hurricanes, the Oklahoma Sooners, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, UCLA, Syracuse, all the big, North Carolina, Duke. If all the big boys teamed up, they could put an end to the NCAA tomorrow if they wanted to.
And here's my thing is, I have a buddy who played 4 years at the University of Ohio with Frank Solage, another former Husker coach. That's why he went down there. But he said that he was with school and 2-a-days. He didn't have time to get a job on the side and play football. He was living off ramen noodles and shit like that because it's like this dude's putting out.
I'm 60 years old, or I'm 58, and I might as well say 60. I'm closer to 60 and I am 50. And there's ramen noodles in my cabinet for cheap days. A little can of tuna, a little ramen noodles, and all of a sudden you had an 89-cent meal.
Yep, exactly. And it's just like this guy, and now he has no cartilage in his knee. He sacrificed his body to play football for 4 years. I mean, yes.
Nobody in line to give him an ounce of help whatsoever, even though he sold a shitload of tickets.
Yes, sir, exactly.
Well, we give them an education.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's... And they're giving you millions. Is that education worth millions?
No, sir.
You got players like Darrell Griffith that played for Louisville for 4 years, goes to Utah. Now, fortunately, he made it. Fortunately, he made it to the NBA. But there's a lot of guys that give 4 years, help you bring national championships and conference championships home, and they don't get dick.
Exactly.
And some of them don't even get a college scholarship. Some of them don't.
Yeah, some of them are walk-ons. Exactly. So then they're out there paying for school, and
if the lacrosse team ain't making enough money to exist, then shit on them. They can play intramural like we did in high school. We didn't pay any money to play lacrosse or soccer. I mean, if the sport didn't make no money, then it was an intramural sport.
Yes, sir.
And anybody could play. And let's face it, in high school, there's not too many of them that make money anyway. And in college, it's hard. If it's not big-time college basketball or college football, who the hell's making any money?
Yep.
And the golf team. And if you're not making the money, you don't deserve a part of the money. The way I see it, those that earn the money should be the ones that get paid.
Exactly. Well, that's why when that NCAA lawsuit, when they had that video game, the NCAA college football game, all those players ended up getting some money. Well, my buddy John was one of them. He said he got like a check for like $700, and that was it for using his likeness. I mean, it's better than nothing, but to think about it, like, they used him in a video game. They didn't give him his name, but it was his number, his height, his weight, his complexion, everything. So they basically used him in a video game and didn't have to pay him for it.
Yeah, oh yeah. They steal everything except for the letters of your name. I'm surprised they just don't change the spelling of the name.
Yeah, right.
They do everything else.
Yep.
I am going to make one suggestion to you. How many podcasts is this for you? How many podcasts have you done?
I've done, I'd say total in general, because I do a sports show too, probably about 25, 30.
About 25 or 30.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for 14 years. And trust me, I didn't learn this, what I needed to do till probably about my 10th year, maybe 11th year. And I'm going to strongly suggest that, and I sell these microphones. You don't even have to buy mine.
Oh, I have a mic.
I highly suggest. What do you got there?
I don't know where it's Five Fine Technology. I got it off of Amazon.
Got it off Amazon. How much was that, Mike?
$25.
25. Okay, that's I sell mine for 49. But either it's not setting close enough to you, and you know how I can get up here and kind of make it sound like, and if you don't have headphones on, so you might not be able to notice it. But I would highly recommend using headphones during your shows.
Yes, sir.
And get a microphone similar to this, or maybe the one you got might even work. You just need to be closer to it and give it more of that FM radio sound. And when you hear this back, and if you listen to it on headphones, you will hear the dramatic difference.
Okay.
Because I used to use a $9 microphone for about 10 years.
Okay.
Or the telephone. And I regret that. I listened to an old show with me and Cornette today. The Limo Ride Show. It's on, linked it on Twitter and Facebook. One of the funnier goddamn shows I've ever done. But I did it on a $9 microphone, or maybe the webcam microphone.
Okay.
So do you have a mixer?
I use Audacity.
I don't even know what Audacity is.
Yeah.
If it's a form of a mixer, I would highly suggest maybe bumping up the microphone a little bit. I sell these for $49, and I'm sure you can get them online. Similar versions anywhere from $29 to $59. You know, if you don't have to spend much more than that on a good mic, as long as you got a decent mic, a decent mixer. My mixer costs $59.
Okay.
And my shows didn't up in quality as far as sound goes until I did that. And you always want to give your shows the best possible sound, the best possible look. Your background's not too bad. You do have your camera tilting up, showing a lot of your ceiling, but you got stuff up there to show. I saw one guy doing this, and all you can see was his damn ceiling fan spinning around all night, and there wasn't anything else to see. And it was a WWE guy.
Wow.
And he was sitting in his bedroom with a picture of the Sopranos or something in the damn background, or Scarface, and his ceiling fan spinning around. And he's a WWE guy trying to do a podcast. He had no decent mic, and I think some Sony headphones or whatever. And the headphones really are whatever you want. I use Monster Intunes. They used to list for about $200. I now sell them for $79. I got a distributor that gets me a great deal on them if I buy them in bulk.
Yep.
And we've been using 4 sets of Monster Intunes on my show, I guess, for, 5 or 6 years now. And see, but the microphones I just got about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was the best money I ever spent. And there's 4 of them sitting here. I don't normally have any more than 4 people doing the shows. They plug into the mixer, and they all sound equally the same thing. But that's what I'd recommend. I think it would be a great help for your show to... because you want to sound like you're you're at CNN and you're interviewing Jerry Lawler or somebody. I don't know. Shit.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that very much. I have a fear that if I use headphones, it won't pick up my audio recorder won't pick up the sound from you. You know what I mean? Because your sound comes off my desktop, and if I plug in my headphones, they go into my ear, and then I'm afraid my audio recorder won't pick up that sound.
All mine goes through the mixer and then feeds to my headphones.
Gotcha.
So I hear through the mixer exactly what we're getting.
I gotcha. I understand. Is that better though? Is the mic closer? Can you hear me better?
Tinker around with it a little bit, or you can buy yourself a $59 mixer and do what I do. Hell, if I figured it out, I know anybody can, because I'm not the most tech savvy guy in the world.
That's my problem too.
Got past beta and super VHS.
All right, let's get into these questions here. I appreciate your advice. I'm gonna ask you some questions about the wrestling business, of course, and then some stories I heard you talk about when you were on a Russo show, and we're gonna get into that a little bit, I hope too. What?
Yes, someone posted today that I'm the only person that was bosom buddies with both Jim Cornette and Vince Russo at the same time and lived to talk about it.
Yes, sir. What about the wrestling business got you interested in joining the wrestling business?
That's pretty easy. It was, I always kind of semi-enjoyed wrestling, probably since the time I was 4 or 5 years old. I'd watch it with my dad. especially watch it with my grandpa. We'd go to Eminence, Kentucky, little town outside of Louisville, about 45 minutes from Louisville. And my grandpa kind of hung out in Newcastle and Eminence out in Henry County, Kentucky. And on the weekends, we'd go out there because alcohol was legal in Henry County, but not in Oldham County. And my dad liked to drink, my stepdad, so he would go out there to Eminence and hang out with my grandpa or whomever, and they'd go to the bars out there in Newcastle. And me and Grandpa, or me and Radio, that was his name because he talked a lot. Maybe I must have learned that from him. But we would sit there and watch Detroit wrestling that was based out of Cincinnati. They got Cincinnati channels much more clear than they got Louisville channels, and or at least the same.
Yep.
And of course, we're talking long before cable TV was even thought of. This was in the early to mid '60s. And I'd watch wrestling with them, and that was back when the Sheik was a big deal, and then we evolved into the later 60s to when the Valiant Brothers, Pepper Gomez, Kurt and Carl von Bronner, the famous German tag team, the Interns and Dr. Ken Ramey, the Bounty Hunters, and trying to think of all of the guys that wrestled in the Chicago wrestling. The Valiant Brothers were one of my favorite tag teams. And then, of course, we started watching Gulas Welch wrestling, which featured the fabulous Jackie Fargo, who was one of my favorites, Jerry, who was not the king yet, Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler, Jim White, and Sam Bass, they were up-and-comers around 1972, even though I think Lawler's first match was in 1970 against Tojo Yamamoto, which my first professional match ever was in Birmingham, Alabama, and I managed Tojo Yamamoto in 1987, 17 years later. And I'm sorry, it's 27. No, 17. That's
Yep.
17 years later. I can't do math, folks. Bear with me. And but really, it was Jerry Lawler. When it was Lawler, White, and Bass, he wasn't even the king yet. And I really liked his persona. I liked his look. I thought we looked a little bit alike, even though he had a goatee. And obviously, I'm 12 years old and sneaking up on 13 and not even thinking of a goatee or a mustache or anything like that. But I loved what a smart ass he was. I loved his quick wit, loved his humor, and he could get heat with anybody. Even in 73, 74, the man could get heat like you wouldn't believe. And he was evolving into probably the biggest star in the Memphis territory, which was Lexington, Louisville, Memphis, Nashville, Tupelo, Blytheville, Arkansas, all through there, Mississippi, and Tupelo's in Mississippi, and so that area, Lawler and Gulas Welch wrestling, and then eventually Jerry Jarrett dominated that entire territory. And I mean, they liked Evansville in southern Indiana, and they had a huge ass territory, and they could work 7 days a week and twice on Sundays, and run 8 shows a week. And oftentimes they did, because the promoters didn't give a shit if you got a day off or not. We can run a show. We sit at home on our asses, or we're at the box office counting the money. And they don't give a shit if the wrestlers get a day off or not. They don't give a shit if they work twice on Saturday or Sunday. So needless to say, there's no cable TV. And if you're on television, there's only 3 goddamn channels. There's a Wave 3, for NBC. Channel 11 was CBS back then. I'm sorry, ABC. Oh, hang on. Channel 11 was CBS back then, and 32 was ABC. That's all changed a little bit since then. And then eventually an independent channel called Fox 41 came along, which I was on when I first started wrestling here. And so you only got 3, maybe 4 goddamn channels to watch. Hell, 41 didn't come on until like 72, maybe, give or take. And so when there's only 3 channels on television and you're on one of them, you are a fucking TV star.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knew, whether you like wrestling or not, everybody knew who Jerry the King Lawler was. Everybody knew who Jackie Fargo, and Jerry didn't become the king until 74. I've told that story on other shows of how he stole that name from me when I was known as the king of kickball at Oldham County High School. And he stole my name, which I didn't mind at the time, but when I tried to take it back, he got a little huffy about it. So, and we still have issues with that to this day, as a matter of fact. But that was when you were a real television star. Now everybody's a goddamn TV star. Everybody's got a goddamn YouTube channel. Everybody's got a reality show on the USA Network or A&E or Life or Logo or goddamn. There's just so fucking many channels. There's only so goddamn many people to go around.
Exactly.
Everybody's a fucking television star. Even me and Cornette commented once. Well, doesn't everybody in the goddamn planet have a podcast? Well, I'll do your podcast if you do my podcast. And we said that 5 years ago. And you can imagine how saturated it is now.
Yep.
And that's why they call me the billion download man, because I have the longest running podcast, the Bolin Alley, that is going to enter its 15th season in September. That's just around the corner. And so 15 years of doing my own shows, anywhere from 4 or 5 a month to one a month, which I cut them back for a while to make people want them more. Well, that apparently doesn't work in the podcast business anymore. You got to do, fuck, Russo does goddamn 30 shows a fucking month and then appears on Twitch and all that. And I just don't have 25 and 30 shows a month in me. I barely got 4.
Yep.
There's only so damn many things you can talk about. So many times you can retell a story. And Cornell once said, Kenny, you told that story a couple months ago. I said, well, let me tell it again. I think I've changed the finish. And you got to change the goddamn stories up to keep them interesting. And so Jimmy quotes me on that quite a bit. But the fascination with Jerry Lawler, thinking I was like him, thinking I could do what he did. And I went through high school, believe it or not, trying to make people hate me. I wanted to be the smart ass. I wanted to tell people off. I wanted to put people in their places. I wanted to be at lunch and sit at the table by myself because no one wanted to sit with me because I'd insult them. But just like in wrestling, you develop fans because of that. So even in high school, I had a following. And then they eventually formed the King's Army, because I was known as the King in high school before Jerry Lawler was known as the King of Wrestling. And my friends and family have called me King just about my whole damn life. Well, not so much family. Family doesn't do that, but friends and relatives do. The sub-relatives, as you call it, the cousins and all that stuff.
Yep.
And so in high school, I had a group that watched my back more or less to make sure nobody tried to fuck with me, called the King's Army, which I did steal that from Jerry Lawler. Lawler formed the King's Army on TV. As well, hell, I'm the king. I can have a King's Army. And I'd go around cutting promos on students and school teachers, and I just wanted to fuck with people. I mean, that's just what I wanted to do. I knew that one day I thought I wanted to be a wrestler like Lawler. I was going to take the reins from Lawler. Well, that son of a bitch is still wrestling, so I'm glad I wasn't going for that. And then I decided it was smarter. Hey, if you can talk pretty good and you ain't got to take an ass whipping every night, why don't you just be a manager? And little did I know that by the time I got in, that managers were going to kind of be faded away. And that was when I got into the broadcasting side of it. I understood that there was a value in that too. And OVW, most people find this difficult to believe, between them and the WWE and me being able to sell merchandise, they took care of me pretty good for the 17 years I was there. And as a matter of fact, Jimmy figured out that all the free shit that I got in Louisville, all the headaches that I saved, all the travel I didn't have to do, all the hotels I didn't have to rent, he says, you were probably on the equivalent of making $150,000 to $200,000 a year, staying right here in Louisville, being home every night, not having to do the extensive traveling, doing whatever the fuck you want, working whatever shows you wanted, and basically doing whatever you wanted on television. Jimmy would give me an idea, and now go out there and do what you do. You know, they really didn't put the rank because it didn't do them any good. I am horrible with scripts. You can't give me a script and expect me to go out there and do what is on that paper because that's somebody else. That's somebody else's bullshit.
Yep.
The only bullshit that I ever mastered and I was real good at is my own. And that's why Jimmy had often quoted people or told people that Kenny Bolin is not a gimmick. He said, what you see on TV, that is him. That's what you get. That's why it's so easy for him to do this. He's been doing it since he was in high school. He was a smart mouth in high school. He got heat in high school. So 15 years later, for him to get on television doing it, or 20, however long it was, wasn't that damn big a deal. He's been doing this shit his whole life. And if he wants you to hate him, They're talking about me. If he wants you to hate him, he can walk into a room and you will fucking despise him. But on the other hand, if he's selling you something, he can make you love him just as quick. He said, I've never seen anybody who can either have you hate him or have you love him in a matter of seconds. And he says, and there's plenty that do both. There's plenty that fucking despise him, and there's plenty that hate him. He said, but the amazing thing is that over time, those people that hate him finally see what he's doing, and they appreciate it, and they become his friend. And that was that way in high school, and it's been that way on podcasts and wrestling shows, to where fans that hated me, you didn't get to talk very much, are you? And fans that hated me eventually learned to like me, and that's why I've been one of the more popular podcasters, as I answer every fan's letter.
Yep.
May not be as quickly or what they want to hear from me, but I try to respond to every single person, especially anybody that orders anything from me. I have them ordered directly through me. That way they didn't go to a site, click something, and I have no idea who bought my shirt, or no idea who bought my headphones, no idea who bought my book. I want to know each and every person. I mean, they invested into me, and I want them to know that I appreciate that.
And that's a cool thing, because not a lot of people do that. They're like, oh, you gave me money, I don't give a fuck. But the fact that you can...
very few. They want you to go to a store and click. I even had fans say, well, why don't you have that? I said, well, I can easily have that. But number one, the more you buy from me, the bigger deal I'll give you. It's not set to where if you buy 4 shirts, they're $100. If you buy 4 shirts, well, I'll get you something for free for doing that. Or I might make it buy 3, get 1 free, or whatever the deal. Or if you buy 4 shirts, you get a free book, or a free autographed whatever, If you buy 2 sets of headphones, I might fucking give you a microphone for free. No, I'm not, but
yeah, I get what you're saying. So with you and
3 headphones, you might get a free microphone.
You and Cornette have been friends since childhood, correct?
Oh, yeah. So, well, when you say childhood, since we were late 15, early 16.
Okay, and what's your guys' relation?
I remember I spent New Year's Eve when I was 16 years old at Cornette's house.
What's your relationship like today? Because I know you guys have had a couple issues back together, issues.
Yeah, well, it's we quit speaking over a couple of things. He found out on a tweet that I wasn't going to do his shows anymore because I didn't want to be associated or affiliated with Brian Last in any way. It was probably not real cool of me to make that announcement on Twitter and not let Jimmy know. But I was mad, and I'd made my decision immediately, and I figured, well, I wasn't mad at Jimmy, and Jimmy shouldn't get mad at me because I don't want to be associated with his piece of shit podcast host. And so that was layer number 1. He was upset that I quit his show without giving him a chance to talk me out of it. It wouldn't have worked because Brian Last had badmouthed my kids. My kids have been a part of my show. Christopher has been doing my podcast for 13 of the 14 years I've been doing them. Maya's been doing them with me for the 4 years that she's been over here, almost 5 years now. And I didn't take too kindly to where after 2 shows, he was trying to tell me, well, your kids are killing your ratings. They shouldn't be on the show. The fans don't like them. Well, what he meant is that he didn't like them because they put him in his place over not knowing things about the law, and also trying to kiss Jimmy's ass by burying Vince Russo. And that was where the protective order had been filed against Jimmy. And I didn't want to see Jimmy go to jail, and I didn't want to see Russo get killed. So I felt it was the best thing to do. And Jimmy, to me, at that time, seemed to be going off on the deep end, and I never know if what he's capable of doing. You have to admit he does a lot of things that rational people don't do. And even though he's been my dear friend for 42 years, he had me convinced he might try and kill him.
Well, here's my thing with Jim Cornette. He's always, quick to say something. I've never met him in person. I've never talked to him in person. But he's always quick to, pop off and talk shit to somebody and say what he wants. But then the minute somebody gives him some flack right back, he fucking blocks you on Twitter or just completely. And so my one interaction with...
I've blocked my fair share too, but I will only block you as if you're disrespecting me.
Yep.
Or if you're on my wall promoting Donald Trump, that'll get you blocked in a fucking heartbeat. But you get a warning.
Yep.
You get a hey, don't be posting that shit on my wall. You can blow Trump's cock all you want on your wall, and we'll still be friends. But you ain't gonna promote him on mine. You get one warning, And I've had some of my dearest friends stupid enough to think they can get by with that shit. The guy that married my son and daughter-in-law, the preacher, tried to post that pro-gun shit and anti-Muslim shit and pro-Trump shit on my wall. And I gave him one warning. I said, Chris, I've told you not to put that shit on my wall. I said, this is your last warning, and I'll be goddamn. Day or two later, he's got pro-Trump shit memes on my wall. And I said, well, all right, you're a stupid fuck. You're gone. And I haven't spoke to my brother in over 2.5 years over this Trump shit. From the time the campaign started. And this is how I am. If you've got a racist bone in your body, if you think the color of your skin entitles you to something, or that someone else's color of their skin disentitles them to something, or if you think you're better than somebody because of your shade of skin or where you come from or where your family is, then I ain't got no use for you. If you think that the level of the amount of money you got makes you better than somebody, I've been as poor as you can fucking get, and I've done pretty good. And sometimes people have thought I've done way better than I am doing. And so I've mixed with billionaires. Mark Cuban's a dear friend of mine. I've dealt with George Steinbrenner over the past, and I've even met Donald Trump 3 times, which was told me on all 3 occasions what a piece of shit he was. I never liked him from the day I met him. And Mark Cuban, I consider one of my dear friends. He's such a busy and rich man, I don't get to see or talk to him a whole lot. Hell, John Cena's a rich man now. I don't get to interact with John Cena too much. Eventually, and I'm retired and on disability, so I got way more free time than these guys have.
Yep.
And so that explains some of that. But and I don't even know where I was going. But when it comes to the popping off and all this shit.
Yeah. So I can't remember what the interaction was about. It was something to do with Russo. And I was just like, with Vince Russo.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, why do you always have to talk about him if you hate him so much or you don't like him? Why are you always bringing him up? And his reply was, because I can, and then he blocked me.
Yeah.
And so it's just like
that's kind of how I've looked at it. If Jim would calm down about him and treat him the way we used to treat people. And like there was a promoter I used to work for that we could not stand. Didn't want anything to do with him. I knew he was a piece of shit when I was there, and he was a bigger piece of shit by the time I left. And he was always trying to fuck with OVW shows and trying to get us to say his name and trying to get us to acknowledge his presence. And we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't say his name. We wouldn't acknowledge him. And the way I see it, if Jimmy really hates him that bad and wanted to fade away from him, the easiest thing to do would be don't say his name and don't acknowledge it. Hey, Jim, what do you think about what Russo said? Who? Well, Did you hear what Russo said? I don't even know who you're talking about. Next question.
Yep.
And that's what we used to do with this promoter in Southern Indiana that we used to deal with. We would not acknowledge him. He did not exist. And that was the worst thing in his mind that we could do to him, is that we would not acknowledge his existence. And that's probably what Jimmy should have done with Russo. But Jimmy wanted to fight Russo. Russo didn't want to fight. I don't think Jimmy really wanted to fight because, like I said, been my friend for 42 years. I can't name you the fight he ever won. And it's like this a baseball coach I was hearing a story about the other day. Used to manage the Reds back in the 60s. And they said that all the players are sitting around talking about it. I said, man, they said so-and-so, I can't think of his name right now. So-and-so loved Bailey or something like that. I can't remember. But he loved to fight. There's just one problem. He never won a single damn fight ever in any baseball game he was ever in. He must have been in 50 fights, and he never won a damn one of them. Well, that's kind of how I feel about Jimmy. He loves talking about fighting a lot, and he'll tell you what he's going to do, but he doesn't have a long history record of a undefeated streak and beating people up in fights. Is all I'll say.
Where does the hostility for Cornette to Russo come from?
Well, that's pretty easy because I had a hostility towards a guy named Tim Ash, who I felt had fucked me out of a lot of money over the years, mainly through just being a dishonest crook. And there's a lot of people other than me trying to collect from him that have been fucked by him in financial engagements. And I had a big thing going on with Six Flags to where we were going to be making a shitload of money with Six Flags. And then I was ordered to end my negotiations with Six Flags because Tim Ash had an in with those people and he was about to get the deal closed. What he did was, and let me give you a scenario. Let's say that you want to buy, can you see Jerry Lawler's crown over there?
Yep.
All right, let's say you want to buy Jerry Lawler's crown. And you and I are negotiating, and I'm going to sell it to you for $5,000. God damn, it's a lot of money, but you know what? I really want that crown. So I tell you what, I'm going to buy that crown. Well, it turns out Cornette has one of the exact same fucking crowns. Lawler gave him one too. And then Cornette hears that you're going to buy my crown for $5,000. And then Cornette contacts, hey, don't buy Bolin's crown. I got the same goddamn crown. I got one Lawler gave me. And I'll sell you mine for $2,500. Now, whose crown are you going to buy?
Cornette's.
You're going to buy Cornette's. Well, that's what Tim Ash did to me. I had Six Flags signed to do combo OVW, WWE shows, and as long as we provided at least one WWE star on each show, which I'd already been told we had the agreement to do that they would pay us $10,000 a show. Well, Tim Ash went in there once he found out about the agreement that we'd come up with. Oh, no, Kenny shouldn't even be talking to y'all about that. He's got no authority to do that. Which was my job. I did the advertising for OVW before, during, and after he left. And as Danny fired him. And so he offered him the same deal for $5,000. And recalls, Kenny was overselling it. They were never going to buy it. Oh, they were going to walk, but I saved the day. I went in there and I got them to agree to $5,000 a show. Well, Danny would have done the goddamn shows for $2,500, I promise you. And but at $10,000, see, I was going to get 30% of that money. So when you add up all the years we did Six Flags shows and me getting 30% of $10,000, and here's the thing. Now Jimmy tried to convince himself that, well, they were never going to pay that $10,000, and if they did, they'd have done 2 or 3 shows. They saw they weren't getting a return, and they would have walked. Well, number one, I was friends with 2 of the 3 people I was dealing with, and they explained to me, it ain't our fucking money. It's Six Flags money. They pay us to put fucking shows in here. We don't care if damn 75 people sit in those seats or if 7,500 sat out. We just need to provide the entertainment. Give us a fair price that we can go to the office with, and we'll make a deal. So they made it easy for me. I didn't even have to work hard to get the $10,000. They explained to us, it's not our money. We have the budget to work with. And with Six Flags, $5,000 and $10,000 is exactly the same fucking thing. It's like me laying a nickel down in front of you and a dime in front of you. And is either one going to change your life?
Nope.
Is either one going to make you?
Nope.
Is either one going to break you? It's about the same fucking money. Well, that's how Six Flags views $5,000 or $10,000. And so he fucked me. Now, to me, that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
30% of $10,000, even the dumbest motherfucker listening today knows that's $3,000. Well, not, I'm sure my brother in Henry County can't figure that out. But it's $3,000. $3,000 a show. Easy fucking money. And at OVW, that's big motherfucking money. And I was already the highest paid guy at OVW anyway. And the thing that I lost out on $3,000 a show because of that motherfucker, well, Jimmy has the same hatred towards Russo because there was 2 occasions that wrestling companies were forced to make a decision between Jimmy and Russo because Jimmy didn't want to work with Russo. And in both times, TNA picked Russo and WWE picked Russo. What the reasons for that were, I don't know. Probably because Russo was less combative. Jimmy is very, very set in his ways, and I don't think Jimmy will deny that. And the situations at ROH, Jimmy was very demanding and wanted things done his way or no way. And so both times they picked Russo. And as far as Jimmy sees it, Russo fucked him out of a lot of money. Now I see that a little differently. Russo didn't go behind Jimmy's back and undercut his deal. Oh, you're going to pay Jimmy how much to do it? You're going to pay him $500,000 a year to do that? I'll do it for $100,000. Oh, okay. Well, we'll fucking take you then.
Yeah.
We'll take our chances.
Yep.
That didn't happen. But Jimmy feels that Russo fucked him out of a shitload of money, and feels that I shouldn't be that hot at Tim Ash because Tim didn't cost me as much money as Russo cost him. In my perspective, if Jimmy could have toned it down a little bit and worked with everybody, he'd probably still be working at both places if he wanted to be, especially WWE. But then again, they had one idea about how to do business, and Jimmy had another. And this ain't nothing I ain't told Jimmy to his face, so it ain't no shocking news to him. I mean, it's just how it is and how I feel about it. And I'm sure if you ask Jimmy today, oh, Bolin wasn't never going to get no 10 grand out of Six Flags. What the fuck? He just pulling your goddamn leg. So that would be his version. But I knew the agreement I had, and Jim Kuno is a very dear friend of mine. And I felt they would have paid the money. He told me he would, and I took him at his word.
Yep.
And I was one of these people. Jimmy and I both used to feel that contracts are for crooks. And we almost never signed contracts unless the people that we were dealing with insisted upon it. And if they insisted upon it, we'd do it. There's many times we walked into sponsors. What do you want? Here, we're going to give you a banner. We're going to give you 2 commercials. We're going to send stars out to your shows, to your events that you hold. And here's what we want. Here's what we'll give you. And many times we just shook hands, and that was the deal.
Yep.
So that's where the Russo hatred comes from primarily.
And what is your?
It still exists to this very day.
Yeah, I assume that. What is your current relationship like with Vince Russo?
Good. I didn't like anybody that he was working with. I despised. I
Vito.
don't want to say his name. The bald-headed fuck. Yeah, you said his name.
Sorry.
The bald-headed fuck. I despised him. I know his history. I know what he was about. I know his history with women. It's well documented. All you got to do is Google it. And I even had several of the girls that he's dated and or proposed marriage to that had contacted me and told me how you'd fucked them over and beat them up and lied to them and stole from them and all this shit. And he's just not the type of human being I want to be around. He was not very well liked at OVW when he was there. I personally didn't have any problems with him at OVW other than that he wanted compliments left and right all the time and was always coming to me for advice. And then when I get on the shows, because I'm not kissing his ass, he wants to fuck with me a little bit. And I think anybody that saw those verbal debates between he and I on the 2 or 3 shows that I did with him, I think saw that whatever his skills are, the verbal skills are not his. And I ate him alive. I don't know if you've seen him or heard him or
yes,
not.
Sir.
And hell, you might be his best friend for all I know. But if you saw or heard those, who do you think won those verbal debates?
You sir, you did, and I will say that I'm a big Russo fan, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, like I listen to Vito's show, and I'm not. But I kind of get a vibe from him that I don't know him. I've never met him, but just the vibe he puts off.
He had every opportunity in the world to be a huge star. He basically fucked up everywhere that he ever went, and Russo is the only one who ever saw anything in him and kept him around as a friend. And that's why he lives in his, from what I am told from reliable sources, he lives in his mother-in-law's house and has been there for many years. And he just lost out on the lawsuit because he got caught lying, trying to get money from the WWE. So he lost out on his lawsuit. And he's not what I deem a good person. And I didn't want to deal with him. Then Jeff Lane tried to bow up on me over his Donald Trump shit, so that I was chasing off half the listeners. And I tried to explain to him. I said, well, if that's the case, why does Jimmy Fallon bury Trump on every show? Why does Stephen Colbert bury Trump on every show? Why does Jimmy Kimmel, the 3 big network television shows, all bury Donald Trump every fucking night? And in Conan over at TBS, he has a talk show. He buries Trump every night. Comedy Central buries Trump every night. So if what I'm doing is chasing half our listeners away, then we are the only goddamn podcast. Let this go.
Yep.
Hey, Walter, I'm in the middle of a podcast that they're paying me to do, and I will have to give you a call tomorrow. Yeah, I've got to leave the minute I'm done with this, but I'll call you tomorrow, man. That's all right. You just made the air, you son of a bitch.
Thank you for calling in, man.
Yeah, thank you for calling in. He said. hey, you know what? We'll just make you part of the show. Yeah, is the caller there? Where are you calling from, Walter?
I'm calling from Loserville, Kentucky.
Loserville. What's on your mind? Walter? What can we do for you here at the? What's the name of the show again?
What have we done to your sport? What have they done to our sport?
What have they done to our sport? Is the name of this show. He's a big Nebraska fan. He's a big Nebraska fan.
Oh, Nebraska.
Yeah.
The Cornhuskers, nice.
The Cornhuskers.
Yes, sir.
What's your question from Loserville, Kentucky? Loserville, are you there?
Yes, we are here. I was wondering how the season's looking for my U of Smell Cardinals.
Well, I still need a little more info on the U of Smell Cardinals, but I did hear that the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals has predicted that they're going to the Super Bowl this year. So I'm going to Cincinnati, and I'm going to get whatever fucking drugs he's on. I'm not a drug taker. I don't partake in drugs. But whatever hallucinant he is on, I want some of it.
Right. You know, they can buy tickets and still go.
They can't buy tickets and still. Hey, they won't be out of it till week 4 anyway, you know?
Right. But this week, wait till week 4. We'll have a good...
This guy is also a Jets fan. Were you a Jets fan in the Boomer Esiason era?
Yes, I know of him. Yeah.
He only knows of. This is a young tyke over here. He only knows of.
I'm 27 years old, man.
27. 27 is when I got in the business. All right. Well, Loserville, we're going to have to cut you off of here. We can't make the whole show about you, you know. Picking cotton. Walter picking cotton. You better pick some tomatoes, goddammit. You didn't lose all those tomatoes, did you? Now you sound like Timmy going, you don't want to know, man. You don't want to know. All right. Well, now you're going to be a big star on this podcast, so we'll make sure to send you a link to it. All right. Don't ever bother me again, you miserable piece of shit from Loserville, Kentucky. I said good day.
Man, I was hoping that was Cornette.
No, I've done that before, too. I put him on the Russo show. Russo loved it, and Jimmy didn't think so much of it, and that's when we quit speaking again. He lost his goddamn mind.
Do you and Cornette have a relationship right now, currently?
I was in the hospital for 7 days, and actually he called me the first day I was in the hospital, and we have spoke many times over the last 10 days. He just did have a road trip down in Florida. He had to go down there and do a wrestling show that I'm dying to hear how all of it went. The name of the wrestling company. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
It's called That Wrestling.
Wow, creative.
Have you ever heard of them?
Nope, never have.
I haven't either. And I don't. Jimmy hadn't heard of them either. And I did ask him. I said, "Did you get all your pay up front?" And he said, "I got enough of it to go down and get the rest of it." I said, "Well, okay. You let me know how that wrestling works out." I don't even know who's on the show, what they were billing, if Jimmy was their main star. I have no idea, but I can't wait to hear how things went with That Wrestling down there. And I can't remember if it was in Orlando or Florida. I think it was in Orlando. Yeah, I think it was Orlando. Maybe you can Google that and find out what happened on the That Wrestling show.
I'll look into that for sure. But that's a very creative name. I'm sure they spent a lot of time on that. It sounds
either that or it's not a very creative name. One of the two.
Yeah, it's not at all. I was being sarcastic. In my opinion, you don't get the.
Sure, I give you your full hour here. When did we get on?
We're at the 47-minute mark here.
We're good then.
Yep.
We're good.
In my opinion, you don't get the credit you deserve because you've worked with some big name stars like John Cena, Eugene, Bobby Lashley, The Miz, Mark Henry.
I didn't work with those big stars. I developed most of them.
Okay, sorry. I
developed most of them.
Okay, and you don't get the
even bigger deal and why I should get more credit for what I've done and what I do. Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Batista, Rico Constantino. And Rico is one of the few that will actually tell you the truth about how much involvement I had with developing most of my talent at OVW. I was the one that was always on the road with them. I was the one that taught them how to be heels. I was the one that taught them how to do promos. I was the one that taught them how to get free shit based off their celebrity, which none of them ever mastered. But I'm still the only one that does.
So why don't you think you get the credit you deserve? I mean, I know the WWE and all that is always trying to make it all about them, and they don't give credit where credit's due.
They've given me way more credit than WWE ever will. WWE don't want to give anybody credit for shit.
Yep.
I listened to Jimmy come up with great idea after great idea. You probably heard that Jimmy and I, and this is a shoot, Jimmy and I are the ones that came up with the screw job on Bret Hart. I was the one that came up with putting him in the fucking sharpshooter, which Jimmy thought was no way that Hart would be stupid enough to fall for it. And I said, I bet he would. And then the conversations went on for weeks and weeks. And eventually, Jimmy, on the day of the show, talked Vince into saying, hey, Hart's going to fuck us. We got to fuck him first. And Vince finally agreed that was the thing to do, is that they had to fuck Hart in order to keep that title and keep some dignity to it. Because if Hart had won, he was going to end up on Nitro the next night, throwing that title in the garbage, just like Alundra Blaze had done. And but I heard Jimmy come. I remember Jimmy was the one that came up with the ideas about having Stone Cold Steve Austin handcuffed and escorted out of buildings, and then coming back and goddamn ambulances and police wagons and beer trucks. And Jimmy come up with all that shit, and because he would tell me about it before it was going to air, and then they would shit on it and not do it, and then 3-4 weeks later they would do what Jimmy had wrote and act like he had nothing to do with it. And that happened more times than I can fucking count. And but WWE would rather shit than give anybody credit for anything. Yeah. Even with NXT, do you ever hear anything about Triple H getting any credit for any of the talent that's come up, or and some blame? They're easy to hand out blame if something fucks up. And the sad thing is that Shinsuke and Asuka should be 10 times the stars they are right now. I predicted they would be. I didn't think even WWE could fuck up Asuka and Shinsuke, but I should have known better, because there were countless talents that they fucked up. Look what they tried to do with Cena. When Cena got up there, they tried to make him a rapper and put him with Bull Buchanan. Why do you think we didn't have him as a rapper with Bull Buchanan? I managed both Cena and Bull Buchanan. We never made a rapper out of them and have them rapping on their way to the goddamn ring, and because it wasn't going to fucking work. And but Cena was the master at promos, and then finally they figured out, let Cena be Cena and he will get over. Batista, he was that demon of the deep here, and we had him over as you could fucking get him here, and then they sent him over there and they put a fucking lockbox around his neck and chain and put him in a suit and tie, and that got over like a fart in church, so that didn't work out so well. And you know, the WWE is kings of fucking up shit, because they don't want the people below them to be able to take credit for their success. So rather than do the successful formula that we created here, or using me to enhance the talent, it was much easier for them just to fuck the talent up and ship them out. Well, OVW sent us some shit.
Yeah.
And, but then again, as you can tell, Dolph Ziggler came from here, who I managed. Aaron the Idol Stevens, who was Damian Sandow. He was at the top of his game when he got let go there. They let him go because he got over without them. He did it despite what they were doing with him. And that pissed them off because it wasn't their idea. And they're hot about the Rusev Day thing because he got that over, not them. It's stupid as shit. I'll be the first to agree with you, but somehow the fucking shit got over. Not what I would have had him do. I wouldn't have somebody that looks like him and as big as him be a fucking comedian, but you know, it's got him over to some level.
Do you still have a relationship with anyone currently in WWE?
Currently in WWE? I mean, I hear periodically. Bobby Lashley and I are still very dear friends. I don't really hear from Cena, if at all. If somebody I know bumps into him, he'll say to tell me hi, and that's really about it. Rico is still my best friend in the whole world. He's been going through some physical shit as well. And Mike Mondo, who was up there, part of the Spirit Squad, I hear from him all the time. Every now and then I'll hear from Dolph Ziggler, either on mainly Facebook when he was on there. But he and Mondo used to travel around a lot when he was here. They were along with the Miz, were about the last guys I really managed here, and Bobby Lashley and Ken Doane and all those guys. And I hear from Rene Dupree quite a bit. But as far as the current roster goes, Orton tagged me in something here a while back between me, him, and Rip Rogers. Me and Orton didn't really get along real well when he was here, but we do better now. And Brock will send a hello to me every now and then, and Batista sends a hello to me every now and then. But as far as daily conversations, not really any of them other than Aaron the Idol Stevens and Mike Mondo, whenever he's got time.
And with the independent scene growing, as we all see with all the All In shit, and there's New Japan and ROH taking over Madison Square Garden. Do you think that's what it's going to take for some of these WWE superstars to say, fuck it, I'm not going to be held down by these guys anymore. I'm going to, speak my truth and get, and put myself over and put the facts out there? Or do you think it'll always be the WWE?
I mean, now you talk about people I really liked when they were here. Cody Rhodes is one I really thought extremely highly of when he was here. And I haven't heard from him lately. I hope he hadn't got to be too big a star that he thinks he can't speak to me, because I really thought highly of him when he was here. And we got along very well. But he's doing very well for himself. And I'm going to be honest with you. He's taken the independent scene to a level far higher than I thought anybody could do it.
Yep.
If you would have told me what he was going to do and was going to be a success at it, I said, no, ain't going to work. Ain't going to work. He'll be lucky to get fucking 3,000 people if he's lucky. And supposedly they got like 10,000 people. Now, when is the show? It's coming soon, isn't it?
September 1st, yep, in Chicago.
September 1st. And I wish him the best, man, because the only way that you can really evolve in this business is to have a lot of good places to go. And you said now ROH has taken over Madison Square Garden.
I meant ROH and New Japan are running a show the same weekend as WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden. And that's
piggyback riding. That shit don't even count. I could take OVW to New York during WrestleMania and sell out whatever fucking venue I wanted to run.
I just meant it was weird because Madison Square Garden usually doesn't let other wrestling promotions in there besides the WWE. That's Vince McMahon's.
I wasn't aware of that, but then again, I don't know any other wrestling promotion that could possibly sell the fucking thing out, to be honest with you.
True that, you're right.
I mean, TNA sure as fuck couldn't do it.
Yep. Have you watched any?
Do it on their own.
Have you watched any TNA lately?
Nope.
It's actually I watched Slammiversary on last Sunday. It was their 16th episode or whatever. And Slammiversary, their big WrestleMania.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, Don Callis is.
Honest with you, I don't get their channel here. They're on something like called Pop TV or something.
Yep.
And I actually do not get that on my channel lineup.
They're actually turning it around. It's a little bit more old school. I'm not a big fan of what's going on in the WWE with the product it is today. There's no heat. There's no promos. There's no
fucking heat. Nobody wants to be a fucking real heel. I mean, Shinsuke has a pretty good idea, but Shinsuke is a better heel than he was a babyface. But he was over as a babyface.
Yep.
But what they did with those guys at NXT, and I don't know if it's because of the smaller venues and they're only doing one big show every 3 months, I guess. And that is where I think they ruined wrestling at, is that you used to have WrestleMania. Yep. That was really the only pay-per-view there was. And then eventually we had, help me get this right now, we got SummerSlam. Let's do the big four. SummerSlam, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. That'd be the big four.
Yep.
You think? Did you put anything over those?
Nope.
And what was the big one that WCW used to have?
Bash at the Beach?
No, not even that. The Thanksgiving one.
Oh, I don't know.
I forgot what it was called. Jimmy was on several of them. I was at several of them. And God damn it. Well, some of the fans will help us out. But they used to have a big one. It was on Thanksgiving every year. And I can't remember what the fuck they called it. And but that was their big pay-per-view. They had that was the one big pay-per-view they had that was their WrestleMania, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get in, and you would take 3 months to build the storylines to go to these pay-per-views, and have 3 months or 6 weeks or however long you wanted to build the story to the pay-per-view. And then that goes away. 3 months later, we build another one. And then for the grand finale of fucking all of it, we settle all this shit at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And then bring in special guests and do this and do that. And to me, WrestleMania now is just a big giant place to hold 2 Monday Night Raws. They'll have the big giant Raw on Sunday, and then we'll move over to a smaller facility and have another Raw on Monday. I mean, there's nothing special, no surprises, no special guests that fucking mean anything, no shocking show-ups. There's nothing to talk about. I think the last 5 WrestleManias have really been the shits. And the last 2 or 3 have been even worse.
Yeah,
the Undertaker match, I mean, goddamn, that's fucking highway robbery. If you can't do any more than that, then don't do anything. There's a reason I don't manage today, because I'd highly disappoint a lot of people. I can commentate, I can talk, but I can't physically do the shit in the ring that I would need to do to be able to entertain the fans. And there's a reason I don't do it. I fucking physically can't do it. And if Taker, if that's all he can give, he shouldn't have done anything.
I
Show up and set up a fucking autograph table and say, thank you for supporting me for 25 fucking years.
I just, like I was saying, I'm not a big fan of, we're getting to that hour mark, so I'm going to try and sneak one more question.
Right, we can go over a little bit if necessary.
Okay,
It ain't that big a deal. We can give you an extra 10 minutes if you need it.
Alright, I'm like I said, I'm not a big fan of the product, but Russo, I don't know if you know this, but Russo's writing for Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling. They just got a TV deal out of Colorado. And
I do know that.
Yeah, and they stream it on Twitch.
I'm going to be honest with you. I love Russo. He's my buddy. I don't know what he had to do with those earlier shows. I saw a couple of the earlier ones. I hope they've gotten better.
Yeah, I mean,
they've gotten better. I don't want to blame him because I don't know how much he had to do with it. There's only so much shine you can put on a turd. If all you got are turds, there's just only so much shine you can do. I don't know what he's got to work with talent-wise, but the two early shows I saw, I would not want my name on them. That's just me. And like I said, I love Russo. He's my buddy. But, wow. They were tough. And I don't know a television show that would have aired them. So I hope things are better. That's local TV out there. I mean, maybe it's online somewhere. I don't know. I don't watch hardly any damn wrestling anymore, to be honest with you.
It's not good.
Since Shinsuke and Asuka came up here, I watch their matches, and that's about it.
I
skim through everybody else's shit, and I see the finish.
Yep.
That was fucking stupid, and then I move on to the next match.
I just, there's no more storylines, like I was saying. There's no more heat. There's no more storylines. There's no more build to anything. It's like all these people just care about these guys in the ring fighting or women in the ring fighting when we all know it's a work. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows that now, but you can still have storylines. You can still have build-up. You can still have...
Well, everybody knows Days of Our Lives is a work.
Exactly.
People still tune in and watch it. Everybody knew that Dallas was a work, but everybody tuned in and watched it.
Exactly.
Everybody knew that drug dealers weren't getting killed on Miami Vice, but yet people still tuned in and watched it.
Exactly.
And everybody knows that zombies ain't eating motherfuckers, but yet we tune in and watch it.
Exactly, because it's entertaining. There's storylines. There's a build-up. There's a reason that we keep watching it to see what's going to happen. But with WWE's product, there's none of that. And that's what sucks because it's like I have two little boys. I have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. And like there was nothing more that I wanted to do was bond over wrestling with them like I did with my brother. But I can't even do that because I can't get through a fucking Raw episode for 3 hours. They lose interest and they're 5 years old, you know?
I dare you to name the time that I ever saw a Raw or a SmackDown live. I DVR that shit. I watch Raw in about 45 minutes or quicker in some cases. Yeah. And SmackDown I can get through in about 30 minutes. It don't take too long at all.
Yep.
And now, if Shinsuke actually works a match on air or Asuka, then I'll watch the whole match.
Man, they've destroyed Asuka. She went from being undefeated to losing every match she's fucking in.
Oh, goddamn, fuck. I mean, just talk about just ruining somebody. Just fucking ruin them.
Yep.
They could have had her fucking get disqualified. They could have had countouts. There's all kinds of ways they could have went around that, but oh no, let's just fuck her up totally because we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yep, it just doesn't make sense. But what I was saying about Rocky Mountain Pro is they actually, it sounds like they got season 2 on TV, so the numbers picked up. They were the highest rated show in their time slot in Denver. So that's so
what network they on? Do you know?
Channel 3. It's like KDCO. I just know it's Channel 3. I don't know the numbers or letters. I don't want to throw it out there. No, I can find that out for you and send you a message through Facebook when we get done here.
If you got a link to anything, I'll take a look at it. I just know the first couple of shows I saw a year or so ago. I wouldn't have put my name on it.
Yeah.
But I did see Russo on the show, but I didn't know how much he had to do with it.
Yeah, he's
you can only get a turd so shiny, and then it's still a turd. So.
Yep.
But I'm glad, I hope it's doing good for him, and I hope it improves, and hope maybe they get some better talent out that way.
He just has a problem because all these young wrestlers, all they care about is their marks. They just care about flipping and flopping. They don't care about listening and taking advice. You know what I mean? It's just.
From the time I got in, I mean, we've had to preach to them that if you want to last for 20, 25 years in this business, that's probably not the way to go about it. None of the greats did it. You didn't see Billy Superstar Graham doing it. You didn't see Jerry Lawler doing it.
That's what I mean. What Austin?
Duke, I assure you didn't do it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin had 4 moves. He'd stomp you, he'd punch you, and then he'd stunner you, or the Luthez press, and then he'd stunner you, and the match was over.
Yeah. Stone Cold was as over as fucking anybody. The Rock.
Yep.
The two of the most over people in the WWE in history. Now, Shawn Michaels is another story. Shawn did all the stupid shit, and he don't work. He don't work no more.
Yep.
Steve could go out and still do the same goddamn show today if he wanted to.
Exactly.
And hell, I saw him on I did 2 of his shows this year, and hell, his damn television show he was doing, he looks better now than he did when he's in the WWE.
Yep.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it right, I guess.
Well, he just started doing DDP yoga. Apparently, that's one thing. That dude's. I mean, I think his legacy, DDP himself, is going to go down what he's done outside of the business and what he did in the business.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. They've talked to me about doing the yoga thing, and I just haven't been able to get motivated to do it. I'm the one person I don't think that's going to work on because I just can't fucking make myself do it. So.
Are you okay? Earlier you said you were in the hospital, so are you healthy now? Everything going good, back to normal, 100%?
I was in there for 7 days with severe cellulitis. There was a danger of me having a blood clot in my left leg, so that scared them. And then the doctor come in and says, you do realize there's a chance you're going to lose that left leg. I said, oh, shit. So we started taking things a little bit more seriously after hearing that. And so now things are doing much better. I'm still on my antibiotics. That's what those are. And I still got quite a few left to take. So I'll probably be on that for about another 5-6 days, I guess. And but doing good. And since I went into the hospital, I've lost 31 pounds as of today.
That's good, man.
And that's hard to tell on somebody as big as I am, but it beats the fuck out of gaining 31. I'll tell you that. Yes,
sir. Well, I want to thank you for your time and being open and honest with me and giving me this opportunity to interview. I'm a big fan of yours. Developed some of the biggest names in the business.
Well, both. I mean, I've worked with Steve Austin, Kane, The Undertaker, Jerry the King Lawler, and a lot of people I didn't have anything to do with developing, but I've worked with a lot of greats, and really all of them. There's not too many people I can name, maybe short of Roddy Piper. I mean, I met him, but I never got to work with him, and I'd love to maybe got to work a match with Nick Bockwinkel. I did get to work with Bobby Heenan. We did a bit in OVW that was funnier than shit. That's on one of my DVDs that I sell.
If you're willing to answer this, who's the biggest dick you worked with, like personality wise, like just an asshole? Thought they were better than everybody.
Bob Holly.
Bob Holly? I've heard that before. Holly. Yeah.
Biggest fucking prick. He hurt several of my friends because he was on painkillers or drugs or something, and then he fucked up 2 or 3 of my friends. Lance Cade was one. And then Lance got addicted to painkillers and ended up dying, which was one of the young men I used to manage that I thought very highly of. Hell, he called me dad.
Yep.
And he had a good dad, but he called me dad. And Rico Constantino was the other. But no, I got no fucking use for Bob Holly whatsoever. My son said he would beat him with an inch of his life if he ever met him.
And then let me sneak one more in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the fact that Brock Lesnar failed a UFC drug test for steroids, and then the very next Monday he's on Monday Night Raw and they completely ignore it? Meanwhile, they suspended Titus.
When did this happen?
I think it was when he first came back, like after that Hunt fight, UFC Yeah, he failed 2 drug tests in the UFC.
3 years ago or 3 months ago?
It was probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's how much I keep up with UFC.
Yeah. So he failed. He won his fight in the UFC. He failed a drug test, 2 drug tests. Then he shows up at Monday Night Raw and wins the fucking championship a month later. You don't hear nothing about it. But yet you suspend Titus O'Neil 60 days because he said ladies first and pulled on Vince McMahon's arm.
Good God.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
You remember the days when they used to release wrestlers and it was a big deal?
Yep.
You'd just be shit shocked that somebody got let go.
Yep.
And I remember you used to looking at Lords of Pain, and then you'd see so-and-so was released. I can't remember the last time in the last 5 years I gave a shit about anybody that got released from WWE.
Yep.
All I do is say, I wonder where that fucker went. Oh, he got released 3 months ago. He got released 6 months ago. There's somebody I was wondering about the other day. Of course, Cass getting released, I predicted that. I knew when they put him in a suit, he was fucked. And Enzo, of course, his mouth was going to get him run off sooner than later. And but no, there's many on there that I just wonder where the fuck they've been. I can't even think of their damn names now.
Yep.
But I watched the show and realized, why ain't seen that motherfucker in 6 months? Or where'd that one go? Or where's that girl at? I guess you have to watch Total Divas to find out where everybody's at. Hell, I don't know.
And The Miz just dropped his show. Him and his wife have a show now.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I've got it set to record. It's going to be a half hour of, oh, God. Now, I used to manage The Miz, too.
Yep.
Also, right up there on the top of the prick list was The Miz. We more or less tolerated each other when he was here. That was, wasn't a friendly mix. And And he hasn't had too much good to say about me since he went up north either. I don't know why. I think some people think that the gimmick I play on television, which is an enhanced version of me, but I think they think I am a crook by life, that I just look to fuck over everybody I meet. I only fuck over big business people. I don't fuck the little guy. I don't fuck the average Joe. I don't fuck the homeless. I don't fuck the poor. I fuck big business when they fuck me.
Yep.
Only I fuck back twice as hard, which I've heard somebody say that before who I can't stand.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just a whole different world now than when I was in it, and it was a whole different world before I got in it.
Yep.
It is evolving. It is evolving, not for the good. It gets worse all the time. I kind of envy the territorial days. I would have loved to have been a part of that, but you weren't as famous back then. I mean, I accumulated worldwide fame by being on basically a local television show in Louisville called OVW. And then the DVDs went worldwide. So then people all over the world knew who I was. And it still amazes me to this day that people will still see those DVDs for the first time. Well, I had no idea you managed Cena. I had no idea you had mic skills. Why didn't the WWE call you up? Well, we'll close out on this. When I was managing, I never got upset that I never got called up to the WWE, because during the tenure that I was there, the 8 years that I was under contract, the early years when I was there, they sent Jimmy down to Louisville. They had no use for Cornette. Jimmy Hart was like backstage management of some type. He wasn't used on TV. Bobby Heenan was basically fired and sent to TNA. They threw him out the back door on a Raw. And Captain Lou Albano wasn't getting any TV time. So, and I think Humperdinck was up there at that time. Downtown Bruno, whatever the fuck he was worth. Not much. But, so here you got Cornette, Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Humperdinck, Captain Lou Albano, all under contract when I was working with OVW in affiliation with WWE. Who am I to say, well, call me up. I'll show these motherfuckers how to manage. Yep. I'll show you how to get some goddamn heat. I'll show you how to elevate some talent. Maybe I could. Maybe my style was different. Maybe I would have been the fresh blood that the TV show needed. How many Paul Heyman interviews can you fucking see? You know,
they're all the same. Exactly, they're all the same.
The only fucking manager they've had for how many years now?
Yep, exactly.
And so I think I would have been a nice difference for the show, and I think on my feet well enough that it would have been hard to pin us down in a segment that would not have gotten over. The bad thing is that they don't like people who can think on their feet. They like to do your thinking for you. Very few have got carte blanche to get in that ring and do what they want. I would assume Heyman does. I don't think anyone's writing Heyman shit. You can't write that shit.
No.
It's difficult to write what I do. Jimmy is the master reciter of all time. Jimmy hears a promo he likes, and he can go out and do it in his own way the following day. I mean, he's got a memory like it doesn't nothing I've ever seen when it comes to being able to do other people's stuff. And I just never could do that. I mean, short of stealing some shit from Lawler, that's really about the only one I ever stole from.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you want to plug all your stuff where we can get your merchandise, your microphones, your headphones, and your Twitter, your Facebook, whatever, go ahead and let us know.
I will forward you the link to my store. I will send that to you to where you can put it on your wall. People, you can go to my Twitter wall, and on that left side where it gives you all the bio shit, there is a link to my store there on Twitter on @StarMakerBolin. You want to reach me on Facebook, that is /StarMakerBolin. There's a verified account there too. That's /Kenny StarMakerBolin, but that is a verified account. I don't do all that much business from there, but I do check it occasionally, just not every day. The main things I'm selling right now that are really doing well are my Monster Intune headphones that you see me wearing right now. I got the Bowling Club logo on those. I've got them in a few different colors. I have got purple, I got red, yellow, blue, green. I do have somebody wanting to buy the green, but you know how that goes.
Yep.
When I see the money, I will. You should buy those. You should buy those green Intunes. And I think I got some New York Jet logos that would look real good on those.
Okay.
What do you need?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a green microphone I can sell. Yeah, I got a black one, a blue one, a red one, and a white one. I don't have a green microphone.
Hey, green and white works though.
Green microphone to go with the green headphones though, but I have never found a good quality green microphone like this one here. That is the golden microphone that was sent to me by Podcast One when I eclipsed the 1 billion download mark. Well, ain't that? Do you notice my sound even got a little better when I did that?
Yes, sir.
Because well, that's a big ass thick filter right there. But that's the save you from the P's and T's and all that shit. So that's why. But that's a good looking mic, man. I shouldn't be covering that son of a bitch up.
Nope.
And but that's the golden mic awarded to me by Podcast One when I eclipsed the 1 billion download mark. And it's not 1 billion just on the Bolin Alley. It's all the shows I've done, including shows like yours and various others. And that was those numbers were put together by Price Waterhouse, and everyone knows they never fuck up.
So,
but yeah, buy the headphones, buy my book. I probably screwed you too. The microphones I sell for either $49 or $59. Check my store. I can't keep up with all the prices. The Monster Intune headphones list for up to $199. I sell them for $79. You can't beat that with a stick. And what else have I got that I sell? What else? My shirts, of course. The Bowling Club shirts. I don't sell the gray one. I look fat in the gray. I should have wore the black. But I've got the Bowling Club shirts, the BS logo shirts, and they're $24.95 each. I've got the Bowling Club hats for the first time ever. We've got a few of those left, maybe 6 or 7. So if you want a Bowling Club hat, you can get one of those. And I just spent $1,000 on car repairs this week. Paid $590 to get my son out of jail. Stupid speeding ticket thing, but they come to get him, and somebody had to get him out of jail. And what else? I spent about $2,500 between emergency rooms, doctor co-pays, car payments, or not car payments, but car repairs. And it's been a hell of a fucking week. So if you can help me out, buy some of my merchandise, I greatly appreciate it. Or if you want to make a small donation to the Bolin Alley, which will air this coming Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. The Bolin Alley, and we do those live on YouTube, and we do them live on Facebook from time to time. And if you want to make a small donation for your appreciation of the Bolin Alley show, I don't care if it's $3.99, $5, $10, or $20, whatever you can donate as a monthly donation for helping us out with the show. It is greatly appreciated. Because I'm just a poor white man from LaGrange.
Yep. Once again, I want to thank all my listeners. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you had fun, Mr.
I need to sell some shit this week.
I hope you had fun, Mr. Bolin. I hope I didn't let you down. I hope
you had a good time, and I got somebody coming to take me to Longhorns for dinner tonight in about an hour. So
nice.
We're wrapping up just in time here.
That's perfect. And I want to again thank you, everybody. You can follow me as always on What Have They Done to Our Sport on YouTube. Cole Sports Corner Podcast on YouTube. My Twitter is Cole Scharff, or it's my time now 18. Also on Facebook at Cole Scharff. Thank you guys.
Make sure to subscribe not only on his YouTube channel, but make sure to subscribe on mine as well,
yes,
which is youtube.com/The Bolin Alley. Yep. And we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're kind of new. But once you get to 1,000 subscribers, I hear you actually make a little money on those damn shows.
Man, I wish I could get 1,000 subscribers. I'm trying, though. I'm trying. It's just, like you said, there's...
Well, look at me. I'm world famous, and I barely got over 600. I mean, but then again, I probably could plug it more. And I've got so many fucking shows out there on other channels. It's, and I only do 2 shows a month, but I think we're going to bump it up to 4 here pretty soon. I might have to get a new co-host to do that. But
well, if you want a new co-host, let me know.
Well, you'll have to buy one of my microphones.
That's for sure. I'll do whatever I got to do, man.
There.
Sure,
let my current co-host fuck up, and you might walk into it. So
sweet.
Just hang in there.
Yep, let me know.
Keep your application and resume ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Bolin. Have a good night. I hope you have a good dinner.
It will, and I did say good day.